There is mounting international pressure on Israel to allow aid to enter and be distributed across Gaza. The calls coincide with warnings of a looming famine there. These images into us from northern Gaza, Palestinians scrambling for food at a soup kitchen, some sharing the portion they receive among their entire family for the day. The United Nations says 93 aid trucks entered Gaza yesterday following an 11-week blockade by Israel. But the UN says that assistance has yet to be distributed. Crystal Gomansing is in our London bureau tracking this story for us. So, Crystal, how much aid has entered Gaza at this point, and what are we hearing from aid agencies who are on the ground?
Well, Arthi, it's really important to break this down because, yes, Israeli officials who manage the aid going in, called COGAT, they say yesterday 93 trucks were inspected by Israel and allowed to pass into Gaza. However, that is where things seem to stop. Now, UN officials say that after it is allowed to cross over, it is then they have to wait to get permissions from Israel to bring in another vehicle and a team to unload it, reload it, and then take it to a warehouse to have it then distributed. At this point, UN officials are saying no aid has transferred over to be able to move to warehouses or get to those people who are desperately in need. Yesterday, we heard from the spokesperson for the UN who talked about a team waiting hours to get those Israeli approvals.
Our teams waited several hours for the Israeli green light to access the Kerem Shalom area and collect the nutrition supplies. Unfortunately, they were not able to bring those supplies into our warehouse. So just to make it clear, while more supplies have come in to the Gaza Strip, we have not been able to secure the arrival of those supplies into our warehouses and delivery points.
So we are still seeing those lineups for food, calls for more aid to be allowed in and to be allowed to get into the hands of those who need it. We are also not only hearing from the UN, but a number of humanitarian organizations, including MSF, which is also known as Doctors Without Borders. It is saying that the amount of aid Israel is allowing in is, quote, ridiculously inadequate. They put out a new statement talking about the fact that not only has food not come in since the blockade by Israel was put in place on March 2nd. MSF said they have not received any medical supplies, which they say are badly needed. And given the escalation in military operations by Israel, MSF is also saying that at least 20 medical facilities in Gaza have either been damaged, forced partially or completely out of service in the past week alone, given those advancing Israeli ground operations and the intensifying of the bombing we've seen right across Gaza. Now, Israeli officials are saying the fact that hospitals have been targeted is not to do with them targeting hospitals or civilians. They say they are going after Hamas targets, legitimate targets. They say that this pressure will not deter them, that they have to complete their operations. We did hear from the military spokesperson saying that, Hamas has been weakened, but they have not been dismantled. And that is the goal as they try to create conditions to have the hostages returned. We do believe, based on information from the Bring Them Back Foundation, 23 are still believed to be alive in Gaza. That family forum group, by the way, is calling for an end to the fighting, an end to the war, to allow for all of the hostages to be returned immediately, Arthi.
So certainly, Crystal, there have been some developments with aid that we're seeing with that mounting international pressure, but we're also hearing about an incident in the occupied West Bank that involved foreign diplomats. What can you tell us about what's happening there?
Yeah, there was a diplomatic delegation of European and Western officials that were in the area of Jenin in the West Bank. This was an approved diplomatic journey. We did hear from the Israel Defense Forces. They put out a telegram post saying that it was an approved delegation, but that delegation deviated from the approved route and that the IDF did fire what they call warning shots towards that group. They say no one was injured. At this point, it is said that some Canadians may have been a part of that delegation. CBC has not been able to confirm that as of yet, but we do have calls in to try to get a better understanding of exactly who was a part of that delegation. The IDF, as a part of its comment about this situation, says that it regrets the inconvenience caused.
Crystal, thanks for this. That's the CBC's Crystal Gamansing reporting from London.